So Stuart, a win on the road, first win of the season. You must be pleased with the performance, especially going down to 10 men very early on in the second half.
Yeah, it was a great team performance. We started the game well and they moved the ball well. It was always going to be a good footballing game when it was 11v11. A little bit like a game of chess really, because they move players into pockets and try and overload you, and we do similar. So it was a really good game up until half time. We had to tweak it slightly just before half time and change our shape to counteract the way that they were playing. We went 1-0 up. Coops, great press with set triggers, and Coops went and took the ball off him and a great strike from him. And we went 1-0 up in at half time, and obviously we come out the second half and it didn't go to plan. Literally a few minutes into the second half, Ira gets sent off and the game kind of flipped on his head, and we showed the other side of the game that we'd worked on Thursday night, defence versus attack, how to get 2 blocks and defend the box, and I thought the lads were outstanding. And a credit to the young lad Charlie, who come in from Cholton. The deal got done on Friday and he come in, didn't have any prep with us, but he was brilliant for a young lad to come in and show the maturity that he did. Real credit to him.
I think it's a common theme that we see throughout the game. It's some people think that when sides go down to 10 men, that the team that's got the man advantage will often go and sort of win the game. But I suppose your mindset changed to a very defensive one. Was that kind of the idea? Just get men behind the ball and just basically stop them from attacking?
Well, we knew if we could get through that 15-minute batch of being behind the ball and then make our subs bringing on Reece Brown and Denham Lewis, we knew that once we brought them into the wide areas, that we knew that we could counter on them with our pace, which we did, and we looked dangerous at times on the break. Look, we were always going to be camped in the half. It's hard because they move the ball well as well. They stretch you, but I don't really think they hurt us. I thought George in the first half made a brilliant save, which kept it a 0-0 at the time. He come out and smothered him. Other than that, I can't remember too many other chances. They had a few shots here and there, and George's handling was brilliant. He come for some crosses, but other than that, I think we restricted them really well.
And you might have been sort of one man down on the pitch, but fans in the stand, again, they've travelled, they're loud, and certainly made their presence felt. They must be a real force on the road. We've seen it, the likes even going to Chesterfield and places like that. Yeah, they're loud and they certainly back you.
Oh, look, 100% Dan. We sat down at White Boston before the season started and did an interview, and I mentioned it, that how important the fans would be for us, especially us as a football club, that how loud our fans are constantly throughout the whole game, and they've been unbelievable on the road. I'd like them to be a little bit louder at home. I understand sometimes it's a little bit harder at home sometimes. But away from home, we've been absolutely outstanding. We've travelled in numbers. I think there was just under 200 again away at Kings Lynn, and the ticket prices were high. So we really appreciate it as a playing staff and a management team. We really appreciate that you've dug deep into your pockets and come and supported the club. And at times during the game, you drove us on and you got us through those difficult periods when we were down to 10 men, and it makes a massive, massive difference. So look, we hope that we can keep that support for the rest of the season.
And just on the red card, that's 2 red cards in the short space of time. Is that something you're worried about of the rest of the players, or is that just something that evens itself out over the course of the season?
I think they're just unlucky scenarios. Like Alex catches the guy with his elbow, which probably in 90% of the grounds don't have cameras all over the place, and he gets caught on camera with him just catching him, so he gets a 3-game ban, which probably wouldn't have happened. And Ira, it's not malicious, it's a sending off. When you watch it back on a video, it is a sending off and it's a red card. The ref made the right decision on the day. From us, we were the other side and was very frustrated on the day with it. It's just a high foot, but it's not intentional, it's not malicious. It's just come over his shoulder and he's just raised his foot to try and bring it down, and the lad's his chest has kind of run into his boot a little bit. So it's nothing that we're too worried about. We're not a malicious team. We're not a team that commit loads of fouls. We're a team that high press and get in teams' faces and try and repasses and take it off them. So it's nothing that's really too concerning. It's disappointing. Obviously, we've missed Alex Dyer for 3 games, and obviously we're going to miss Ira for 3 games now. But I think the lads have managed excellent.
And looking ahead, Saturday in Torquay, they're a team that are normally up there. They've perhaps struggled at times this season. They've not really found their feet. They've had a couple of results recently, but how do you see that one playing out?
I know Gary very well. He's my academy manager at Watford. He's a top manager. He's had numerous promotions through the leagues. They will get going, and their results are starting to turn now. it's been difficult for them. They got to the playoff final and they had 2 goals in that playoff final that really should have been goals. So that always is in the back of your head that potentially they could have been promoted. So it's hard for them, and they lost 3 or 4 of their key players. It's always hard at this level to replace them type of players that are that key to what you're doing. So look, they'll get going. It's going to be a tough game. Same again, their fans are loud at their place. We've been down there a few times, and that's why we need more than ever as many to travel down there, and I'm sure that you're out seeing them.
And is there any sort of hangover from the game in terms of injuries? Is it you going with a fully fit squad?
Yeah, we're going with a fully fit squad. There's still a few niggles within the camp. Obviously, Akimo was out with a slight niggle. We'll have to assess him this week to see if he'll be back. But other than that, yeah, we're going with a fully fit squad.
And then from there is Solihull Moors at home. It's the big game in front of the TV cameras, and the club are sort of trying to get as many fans in as possible and lowering that ticket price to £5. How attractive is that for people to come down to the Vale under the lights in front of the BT cameras? You must be sort of really looking forward to that as a group.
Oh, massively. I think it's incredible from the football club to drop the prices down to £5. It's unheard of at this level. So hopefully we can fill the Vale, get as many fans down there, young, old, as many down there, and be as loud as possible, because it will help us. Solihull are a really good team, and I think they're a team that will be up there in the mix come the end of the season. They've got Neil Ardley as manager, who is manager of Notts County, is a very good manager, and I think they'll be right up there. So it's going to be a